Training is one thing that I have to force myself to do. I'm constantly battling pain and that internal voice that keeps telling me to sit down and just watch a couple of episodes and eat another Twinkie. As someone that is fighting the fat gene, I know that I have to do something. So a couple of years ago, I decided to run with this powerlifting thing. Powerlifting isn't something that can provide instant gratification. You can experience a shitty day of training and the very next day hit a personal record in a completely different lift. The only other thing I can compare it to is golf. The more I would try to correct my slice, the more I would mess up my swing mechanics. So why am I telling you this? When individuals start down the fitness path, they often overwhelm themselves with too many movements, thus leading them to feeling like shit the very next day. It is that crappy feeling that hurts motivation. I often ask myself why something that is supposed to be so good for me sucks so much. It wasn't until I started my own studies that I realized that I was overdoing it and that my body doesn't require much to stimulate it. When I started powerlifting, I was not familiar with the training schemes that were utilized to gain strength. So I ran with Brad's program, which in its simplest form is linear progression. Once I got the feel for it, I adapted it to fit my body type. This was a must because there was no way in hell I could stay rep for rep with Brad. His capacity for handling large amounts of volume was and is way higher than mine. So for the last year, I've been doing my own number and rep schemes. I still utilize a linear progression scheme. However, because of my back and age, I just work one primary movement a day. I use the last 2 days to either make up reps I didn't get earlier in the week or I do accessory work. So long story short, do enough to stimulate change in yourself. Don't do too much that you feel miserable and it ends up being counterproductive. Granted, there is a fine line between the two. It is up to the individual to discover their own sweet spot to cause body adaptation.
You living for likes, I'm grinding for lavish, upping my status, escaping the madness, like a hood kid on campus. My world has done damage, still I withstand it.